One.
Time for another edition of Heads Up, ladies and gentlemen. Great to have you along. Of course, the Money Shot here with the main man, Neil Davis. Neil, we should start talking about last week. Riccarton, the feature, the Grand National uppercut, giving Mark Olligan his sixth Grand National steeplechase success. And the other big performer, I guess, was the Gordonian, who upset our tip. Do I know you? Your tip, really. Well, we both liked him.
Yeah.
But one of those days.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Welcome back, listeners. It's great training achievement, eh? 6 winners in that race. Uppercut saved all the ground on the inside, and it was a good ride to get up with that weight. And I thought Lisa may have gone a bit too early in hindsight, but I suppose she went early to put the others to the sword, thinking that she had the best stay in the race, but just got out finished that last bit. And it was good racing. And Admiral probably in the first race was the best result for me on the side, but a good ride by Hori Mazuku. He's riding really well and got a couple of nice rides tomorrow too. But and the Warriors, geez, they were worried, aren't they? I mean, he was spot on with the point start.
Yeah, well, the Warriors, they don't look like they've got a lot left in the tank, and it is just groundhog day over and over, the same sort of scenario. The season starts with a lot of hype. There's a few good wins. They kind of look like they're going to make the top 8 through the State of Origin period, and then come the last 6 or 7 rounds, they just drop their bundle and really just fail to flatter, and it looks like it's just the same old story happening again this season. So can't see them winning tonight either, to be honest, Neil, and just one of those things. The Warriors just can't seem to deliver when needed.
That's right, yeah. Actually, just going back to the steeples, item number 23 on my bucket list says to obtain a hat trick of chocolate fish against the Money Shot, and I've actually been able to achieve that.
I thought you'd forgotten about that.
Shit, clever's no. No, what was it? You were giving me 11.5 length start on.
The Big Opal against Chocolate Fish.
Fish, that's right. Didn't need the 11.5 lengths in the end, but the Big Opal had his chance, didn't he? Out in front and looked to be going okay, but just faded away.
Just the big difference, isn't there, between the I guess the outer part of the track where the jumps are, especially down the back straight and the like, and then when they get onto that course proper, it really does sort the men out from the boys in terms of their ability to get through that very puggy ground as it was on Saturday. We should also probably touch on Nashville winning again. What a grand old horse he is. Yeah,
just the tempo was set up reasonably nicely for him and just came through. He's racing so well, isn't he? So he's going to be put aside and come back for the Copeland's Mile later back there, so you can't blame him. Big roomy track probably suits him. So, he's a pretty versatile horse now, isn't he? Wet tracks, dry tracks. Yeah. And Full the Power Taylor looked to be right on form in his quarterfinal game, but let us down in the semi.
Yeah, the darts in Auckland. He wasn't to be for old the Power in his last appearance here in New Zealand. Bit of an interesting game. There was a bit of theatre going on. I don't think Taylor was too happy with his Australian competitor, Mr. Corey Cadby. Bit of biffo. Well, as much biffo as you'll get in darts, but definitely it was an interesting watch, wasn't it, Neil?
It sure was. No, it's exciting stuff, and just amazing how 1 or 2 darts can just swing the whole game the other way, change the momentum. Anyway, back with a really good in-depth preview of the Foxbridge Plate tomorrow. Looking forward to that, and maybe 1 other or 2 other good bets as well. Okay, back with part 2 with a preview of the Foxbridge Plate. And last year, Saracino won it. Went on to win a big race and good race at Flemington. And tomorrow we've got, at the moment, a heavy 10 as at Friday afternoon, Money Shot. And the weather forecast doesn't look that great for Saturday. Definitely a bit of rain around. So what's your feeling about where your money's going to go?
Well, yeah, I don't think the track will get any better. People think Tirapa will improve, but I think heavy 10 at best tomorrow. So that, I guess, opens the race up. Cowie? No. Couldn't have Cowie tomorrow. Don't think he's a 1,200 metre horse. And I think there's still about 2 or 3 screws to be tightened on him, so he'll probably be running on for about 5th or 6th, but definitely a big lay for Cowie.
Yep.
Southern Icon drawn 1, could lead them all the way. Looks like it's back to its better form with its win last start, but the class horses and getting him well at the weights, you probably think of Mime, who is a group performer, and I think maybe the horse you might like, Coldplay, another Baker Forsman trained horse. I'd be looking further down the page, definitely outside of Cowie and probably outside of Perfect Fit as well. Just go for, as our friend Stephen Hunt would say, looking in that middle market.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. No, on Southern Icon, it was interesting when he won last start there. He missed the jump a wee bit, and he's about a third to last horse out. And he drew outer and was able to work his way forward and go to the lead. So he won't want to miss the jump tomorrow, which he has been tending to do. But if he can jump out well and lead, he'll make things interesting, eh? Perfect Fit, I think on a 113 or better track, she'd have to be hard to beat. Placed in both the big group ones last year, the Telegraph and Railway. So on a reasonable track, 113 track, she'd have to be hard to beat. But no, I'm going for Mime. I think Mime's a good bet in this. Each way money, 11,340. Was unlucky at Ellerslie when Blake Shin rode her. Should have won. And she's won fresh up before and won on a heavy track. So I think if that rain comes and it's a 115-ish track, 114 to 115, which it well could be, I think she represents good value. But so, and one, who are you going for?
In one?
Yeah.
Put me on the spot. I can't go Mime. I'll go Coldplay.
Yep. Yeah, I do like her. If it's a decent track, I'd probably go for her on top too. But yeah, I actually hope they do scratch her tomorrow and save her for the Tarzino, because I think she's set to win fresh up, but on a 114 or worse track, I couldn't back her. But no chocolate fish.
Nah.
No.
I'll give you a chocolate fish. Cowie won't be in the first 3.
I probably agree with that. I think he's a sort of a $7 or $8 chance. No, you won't get me there. Maybe early on, and then the only thing you're liking for a chocolate fish.
What about, I like one in race 3, a horse that we would have got plenty off if it had won last start, but it got run down, got bombed by a despised outsider.
That's right.
Race 3, number 7, Cosmic Storm. I think there'll be a bit of pace on in this race. Gem Runner, the stablemate, expect to see that go to the top and set a genuine speed, which should suit Cosmic Storm. And I can see him getting over the top of these late in the piece. See her getting over the top of these late in the piece. Cosmic Storm, $3. Probably pay more on the day, but it looks a pretty good thing to me.
Sounds like a trot race with the stablemate going forward and setting it up for the stablemate. But
are you calling the trots corrupt, Neil?
I wouldn't know. They would never hear me say that. I don't know, that race was those first 2 or 3 races with that rail being back into 7 or 8 metres from where it was last time. Now, it normally favours on pace runners, and she's going to snag back. And it would need a horse like Gem Runner, or I can't see a lot of pace in the race. But if the stablemate goes forward and sets it up a decent pace for her, she has to be hard to beat. But I like Spawn of a Liar. I thought it went too early last start. It's a sitting duck and just got swamped, and I think nice draw, nice run. Danielle Johnson at 14 and 4, nice each way money, and I can smell a bit of a chocolate coming on here.
Go on then, I'll take you on. Well, head to head, or do you need some length? Do you need a length start?
I need 2.5 length start at least.
Go on then, 2.5 lengths. That's about the margin between the two of them last time they met. I think there's more improvement in Cosmic Storm, just quietly, so I'm happy with that.
Okay.
Due to break my duck this season in the chocolate fish ranks.
Yeah. No, I think interesting race, and a couple in the first race there, nice matchup between Felton Road and Malambo, and I think Felton Road is a nice horse, and Malambo has to come to the end of it at some stage, doesn't she, you think? But just keeps on. They were talking about the Foxbridge Plate earlier on, but Felton Road, I think maybe in the first race could down Malambo's colours. Anything else you like? I've got one on Australia. I
did see one other one there. Let me just find it now.
Yep.
Last ran in the New Zealand Derby, was only beaten 7 lengths. But I think he's ready to rock and roll tomorrow, High Lad. So look out for him to go pretty close in race number 6.
Yeah, I'm just interesting with the odds there, because if you'd seen that, did you see the trial? Here it is, here. The trial with wrong one. With Wildflower and High Lad at Te Teko, where High Lad was in front and Wildflower came at him, and she was full of running, and High Lad was being punched out, and I thought, well, Wildflower on looks alone on that run had the edge over High Lad. So
no money at the trials, Neil.
That's dead right. Yeah. Just bring up his Wildflower's gone out. I'm just going to bring up race 6 odds. I've got them here somewhere.
380 High Lad, 750 Wildflower.
Yep. Well, it was 650 Wildflower. Race... I haven't got the damn thing here. Oh, here we are. Race 6 odds. Wildflower was 650. High Lad was 380. Almo Street has gone out to 6. What's been back then? Big Mike.
What was Dajin Shan, right down the bottom? Has that been backed in?
That's the one. It was down to $10. That's the one, because that's really well out.
That's the money. That's taken a bit of money over its 3 starts, and it finally paid the believers third time of asking. But I know it's rated reasonably highly, Dajin Shan, number 12. But what did that open at?
$17 into $10 now.
17s into 10s.
Yeah.
There'll be a party in Stratford if that wins. I'll give you the tip.
Yeah, it's sort of a big jump in class, isn't it? Up to R75 when it's eligible for an R65 race. It was in today at Alpo and scratched. So, yeah. Could be the sneaky.
Yeah, could be the go. You never know. What about Te Hiranikau, meeting that was being transferred from Otaki? Anything that you spied down there?
I think, actually, there's one I do really like, and I think the track and everything sets up nicely for it, is in race 7, Endata. I think on 54 kgs against a bunch of horses that have been getting dizzy going round and round and round the last 6 months. I think she'll just settle back, bide her time, get out to the best part of the track and just bury those horses. 360, I thought it was great money. How about you?
Race 7, number 5. Yep. I think there's a very good horse. I know it's short and his favourite, but Dolcetto.
Yeah.
Race 3, number 6. I think it's a rising star. It's won its last 3 and it should be winning again tomorrow, you would think. I know Longchamp's in there, but I'd be keen on Dolcetto. It's a horse going places.
Yep. No, I think I'd definitely be on Dolcetto ahead of Longchamp. They were taking on the first call this morning, which was good to see on a Friday night at 11 o'clock. Gives you the early thoughts. And El Pescado...
For those that don't have to work now.
I still work, just sort of have a game in the background. El Pescado, no, he trialled really well, changed was stable, but I can't see him betting Dolcetto, giving him 5 kg. He's a good horse, Sylvia K. Good trainer. No, I agree, yep. Good multi, actually. Yep.
And Australia, the return of the Wondermere.
Yeah, I know, you couldn't pick anything to beat here.
$1.08. $1.08 fixed odds.
I see someone put 60 or a big bet on it during the week. Did you hear about that?
No.
My brother was telling me. Someone put to make, I don't know, $12,000 profit or something. I don't know. But no, she has to win. Antonio Giuseppe, I like, fresh up, but no, she wins, doesn't she? And just goes on to win the Cox Plate.
You'd think so. You would definitely think so.
Mm. And also in Caulfield there, it's a horse I really like. I liked that last campaign, and I thought, right, he's going to make a good 3-year-old. And his jump out was a nice jukebox in race 6 at Caulfield. Really nice horse, relaxes nicely. And Craig Williams is on 350, open up about 5s. When he first opened during the week, into 350 now, so I think he's a good horse and a good bet over there. Rightio, nothing else. Okay, we're back with part 3, looking at the Mitre 10 maybe for the weekend, and maybe something.
Yeah, we can talk Mitre 10.
Good. Maybe see how the Warriors going to. I don't know who are the Warriors up against.
Rabbits tonight.
Rightio, okay, we'll watch that for about 10 minutes, then turn it off. Okay, back in a second with part 3. Okay, we've got the big game on tomorrow night. Hopefully Aaron Smith is playing. But against Australia, Money Shot. Going to be a big game. What's your logic behind this game, and what's a good bet?
Well, the thing about this game is there's a lot of Crusaders in that All Black squad, and so obviously they have been out with their finals campaign, and then a week of probably a bit of partying, it would be fair to say.
Yeah.
So, in theory, they've only been together as a squad for a week and a half, whereas Australia have been together for about 3 or 4 weeks, but without any Super Rugby commitments in that final series once the Brumbies were knocked out. So I just think Cheika will have that team absolutely rearing to go for a first-up performance. They know this could be the game that, I guess, keeps them on track for their season. Didn't perform overly well in those June tests, and I just think 16.5 start, it's a big start to be giving away a home underdog with a lot to play for. I just thought Australia might stay within that point start margin there. So that's option number
7. Yep.
7.
Option 7.
Look at that.
No, short number.
Option 7.
Yep.
Selection 1. Australia plus 16.5, $1.92.
Yeah. I like your logic there, and you're right too, because Cheika will be thinking, the players will be thinking exactly what you just said. This is their chance to really give them a run for their money, because they will improve the All Blacks, you think, with a run under their belt. So
correct.
Yeah. Very good, like a good horse.
Yeah, it's like a horse that's been aimed fresh up at a race versus a horse that's kind of had a few hard races, and this isn't their absolute grand final, so to speak. So they could be a bit vulnerable. I know they're a classy side, but we'll go against the trend and pick Australia at the point start. And if you're wanting to multi that up, prior to that game in the Mitre 10 Cup, Counties host Auckland, Pukekohe. And I know teams aren't announced yet, which is always a bit tricky, but the mail I'm getting is that Auckland will field a pretty strong team, the likes of Fekitoa and Moala in the midfield, and they've got all those good outside backs. And their forward pack certainly should at least be on par with County. So I thought $2 was a bit of value, actually. Auckland, they'll be wanting to get a bit of revenge back for a last-minute loss. They conceded 2 tries inside about the last 3 minutes last year to lose to County, so they'll be fired up for this one. And I just thought Auckland could be a bit of a smoky. So $2 into Australia at 192, just short of 4 to 1 for your Saturday night multi.
Yeah, so that was head-to-head for Auckland.
Head-to-head, $2. Option 3682, number 2.
Got it here, yeah, 3682. Number 2, just writing this down. So I don't think
keeping me honest, that's what we like.
Yeah, and I think, nice prelude towards the test too at 10 p.m. Another late night, Saturday night coming up. And
you can put, if you're wanting a third one, the game before, again, at the 5 o'clock kickoff, is Taranaki taking on Waikato, and probably you don't need to guess who I'm going to tip here, but in terms of class, there's a huge gulf between the two teams named. Waikato look very green, very young, very inexperienced. Taranaki got a pretty good look to their team, and they will be way too good for the Mulu boys. So rain's forecast, so the point start 10.5 should be covered, but if you wanted to go safe, just go the head-to-head $1.22. Get that multi up towards that $5 mark.
Yeah, no, I'll do that myself too, so give me an interest Saturday night. Okay, rightio, back with part 4 with I've got a couple of bouquets and a brick bat to give out, so looking forward to that part, so back in a moment.
Part 4 now, listeners, time for our brick bats and bouquets, multi-question of the week and a wrap. Neil, I think we should start on the positive.
Definitely.
You've got a bouquet for one of the good guys of the trackside crew.
Yeah, Clado, otherwise known as Mark Clayton. Terrific guy, loves his racing, really enthusiastic, and I was on a show the last couple of Wednesday nights and just had a good chat to him about horses and unlucky ones, races that are coming up. He knows his stuff, he had a good conversation with him, and he has an Australian correspondent. He had Ken Rutherford on from the Te Rapa Racing Club, Waikato Racing Club as well. And it's just good information for punters. And it's good to see he's really making an effort to get the information out there for punters. So well done, Clado.
He's a breath of fresh air because he's excited.
Yeah.
He wants to make it work, and with all due respect to some of his colleagues who have been there and just roll out the same old stuff week after week without a hell of a lot of excitement, I think Mark's a breath of fresh air, and I endorse your sentiments 100%.
Good. You got any positives or negatives?
I've got a negative.
Okay.
Funnily enough, on the same topic, trackside radio. Every now and then I tune in on a Sunday morning, like I imagine a few listeners do, to the Talkback Des Coppins show. The thing that annoys me about this, Neil, is that people are allowed an opinion. That's fine. But when they start stating things as fact, when clearly they aren't, I believe Des should, for the sake of the industry, correct those people and tell them, no, sorry, you are wrong, that isn't the case. Otherwise, people who might not know the facts just go, oh, that must be true because Des didn't challenge that person. And there was a caller last week talking about the Racefields legislation and how it was going to be ripping off punters and punters were to lose out of this, etc., etc., etc. Well, I'm sorry, but Des should have corrected him and explained to him exactly what Racefields was about. And I just find it frustrating that he allows these people to carry on with their arguments that clearly aren't even based on fact.
Yeah.
And doesn't do the industry any good.
No, I agree 100%. Statements like that are not good and needs to be cut off or sorted out straight away. Okay, and I've got a negative too. Trackside. I was, working at my desk. I have trackside on the background quite often. Don't watch it, but just sort of see what's going on. And it's repeat after repeat. Like before the first call today, there was a thing about young rider Keel Collins back in 2004 riding this.
Gee, I've seen that one about 10 times with him sitting by the river.
Now, I'll give you one thing for Des's show. There was a lady rang up 2 or 3 weeks ago and said, because everyone was moaning about not having the form books, best bets and the informant on time. She said, look, I got my granddaughter in half an hour to show me how to use my iPad to access the fields, the betting, everything, all the information, and within 1 hour I had it all at my fingertips. I was in horse racing heaven, she said. And she said to all those old farts out there, get someone to teach you how to use your iPad or laptop or computer, and all the information there was online.
Yeah, I did hear that call.
What?
Surprise, Neil. Her name was drawn out of the hat for the $50 bet too. Wasn't that a surprise?
It was too.
But no, it was well deserved actually. And it isn't hard. I know people complain, but it isn't hard. You went from riding a bike to driving a car.
Yeah.
You could have said, no, I only know how to ride a bike. I'm not going to learn how to drive a car.
Yeah.
And you'd still be riding around in a bike. It isn't that hard. So, yeah, the people that go, I don't use a computer, I don't know how to use one, well, unfortunately, you are in the vast minority, so you can't expect organisations such as the TAB to pander to your needs when you make up such a small proportion of their clientele these days.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, most cities now, there's places where you can go to learn how to use whatever to make your life more interesting. So, no excuse.
Free of charge too.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And that woman who rang up, I reckon Trackside should have got hold of her, get her on Trackside, show her that story, show her saying that story with her granddaughter, and have her on TV and saying how easy it is, and show them how to use the website to get the PDF files or get the odds or whatever. She would be a great example of how to increase turnover for such a minimal cost instead of having these repeats after repeats on Trackside. Be a 10-minute slot. I just can't see why they don't do it more often.
Yeah.
Frustrating.
No, I agree. And the interesting thing, though, when you look at it, all those repeats, they're all from Andre Neil's racing show days, so 2002 to 5, sort of in that period.
Yeah.
But there's nothing since, because what has Trackside done in terms of colour articles, the Steve Davis interviews, yes, but apart from that, there hasn't been much of that content produced in the last little while either, has there?
No, there hasn't. None at all. I can remember. But no, it's with technology these days, it's not that hard to do. It frustrates me. There's so much more they could do. Anyway, onto a more positive thing. Those trials that before the races today, noticed Bonnievale coming home nicely and Lizzie Moore winning well. Gee, that Baker Forsman stables looking really awesome, especially for Australia. Bonnievale for the Caulfield Cup. And
John Snow, he's going extra too, I've been told.
Yeah, he looked good at the trials. And I see the Te Rapa Waikato website too was showing jump outs on YouTube on their website now too, which is good to see. There's a few there.
There you go, your crusade has worked, Neil.
Yeah, no, it's just good information. I had a look this morning actually. It's good. Right now, the question last week, good on your Broussard, all the way from Clutha, where the dam is. You got the question right, but didn't get the bet right. It doesn't matter. That's racing. So hopefully you might win 2 in a row this time, Bruce. See if you can do a money shot with a chocolate fish. What can you come up with this week for a question that maybe is a wee bit easier?
Well, we try and keep it easy. You touched on the horse that won last year's Foxbridge Plate, Neil, Saracino.
Yep.
Simple question. Who rode Saracino last year to win the Foxbridge Plate?
Yeah, and it was a non-male too, non-male rider. So that could be a hint.
Well, that narrows it down.
It sure does. Yeah. No, it was a good win last year too. Rightio. Don't forget the Form Pro ratings are free on Monday.
Well, you better tell them how to enter the comp. Your text and your email. So entries in by 10 o'clock tonight.
Yep. Good reminder. 027 352 6402 or formpro@formpro.co.nz, and there'll be more than one correct. So actually, my wife's away at the moment, so I'll have to get my dog to. I put all the names out.
Your dog's got a lot of tricks in drawing names out of a hat. It's one of them, I hear.
Yeah. Yep. By 10 p.m. tonight, we'll have sorted out who has won, and then I'll let you know either way as soon as I can after 10 p.m. And you get that free $20 multi-bet for tomorrow. Good racing tomorrow too. Looking forward to it. Anything else you can add before we sign off?
No. Looking forward to heading over to Te Rapa for a day out, so it should be enjoyable as long as the weather holds off. But yeah, we're getting closer to those good races, aren't we? We're only 2 weeks away from Hawke's Bay, and yeah, those races will come round sooner than we know.
Yeah, and Tauranga races next Wednesday too. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Out there.
Come along. We've got plenty of facilities to keep everyone happy.
Yep.
So if you're in the area, we'd love to see you.
Too right. One of the best tracks in the country, I reckon. I love going there. It's fantastic.
It's because we always look after you, Neil. We always look after you.
Do too. No, great. And okay, everyone, good luck, good punting, and fill those accounts up.